I'm about to expose myself to a pretty embarrassing degree. My debut novel is titled The Magi. I published it when I was 19. I started drafting it when I was about 16 or so, and I actually came up with the original idea when I was about 12. So, if you know anything about me, you know I started taking my writing seriously around 16, so you might guess The Magi is the first thing I wrote. No. This is the first thing I wrote, so let me pop it out for you. This is my first novel. Now, at the time I thought it was a novel. It's actually about 30,000 words, so that's a novella, but it's for a first book, I'll take it. It's all right here. It is double-spaced, and I don't know why it's not double-sided, so here it is. And I'm gonna expose myself a little bit today. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about where I came from, tell you what this little book is about, and probably read some of it and then immediately regret it, because while I actually still think the idea is pretty decent, the writing, I hope you read my current books and think they're better. So what is this lovely book titled Running from Riches all about? Let me tell you. The book opens with Jack and his friend Stan walking down the school hallway when suddenly this girl named Joanne pulls them into the ladies' restroom. And she tells them the very unfortunate news that her uncle, who is supposed to be her legal guardian but she ran away from, is a jewel thief. And she was spying on him, as one does apparently, and he and the men he's working with were discussing this huge heist. They were gonna just absolutely rob every single thing in this jewelry store. And they caught her. And now they are hunting her down because they don't want her telling anybody their plans. So she is on the run for her life. And she asks Jack and Stan if they can help her hide. So they immediately say, yes, let's do this. And they sneak out of the school and they have to escape the principal. They're trying to hide her in this random cave because Jack and Stan are like really oddly familiar with conveniently all of the woods around them. So like, we're gonna hide her in a cave. They're hiding her in a cave when the men that work for her uncle start chasing them. They didn't realize that Joanne was already being actively hunted, or they knew that, but they didn't know they were being followed to the cave systems. So now all of them are on the run for their lives, and they are trying to basically save each other, and they've realized that their best bet at doing that is to bust Robert Kolmanaski, the uncle, in his jewel heist. So that's the plot of the story. There is a 100-mile-an-hour car chase in it. Jack hotwires a car. I don't know how he did that. I don't know how to hotwire a car, but he does. There is a scene where somebody gets in a terrible car accident. Actually, in the car chase, this guy like flips over a million times, and then he's randomly has like a single couple broken ribs later. Like he's just minorly beat up after this. Totally fine. Pretty sure the best friend sacrifices himself at some point, so they have to go and get him back. And spoiler, the school principal turns out later to be Robert Kolmanaski's twin. And I mean, some of these plot twists, they're not half bad, but the execution. Well, let's dive right into this. First thing, I actually don't know what this is. I think it's just talking about like, they're at school, running away. So I think that's kind of like the before and after of different events, the contrast of them, you know, they're free and then later they're captured, thinking they tricked the villain, actually he tricked them, so kind of just the contrasting aspects. Then, I don't know what this stuff is. This is like partially edited, but it's not the actual book. I don't know what this stuff is, so we're putting this here. Try to keep it in order for you guys. This is a short story. I didn't know that was in here. This is Lost in Coxon's Maze. It actually got an honorable mention in a contest. It happens with Stan and Jack. It's referenced in the book. And I wrote a story about them actually getting lost in the cave systems that they tried to hide Joanne in. Here's the actual book. Rough Draft by Paris Kaufman. Chapter 1. Should I read some stuff? Should I give you guys some sneak peeks of the very first book I ever wrote? I think yes. I'm going to start by reading the first page of the first book I ever wrote. Now, everything in blue are edits and comments my mom left me, and let's just say I needed all of these, but we're just gonna read the rough bare bones, and I'm gonna give you a quick disclaimer. We start in the middle of a scene in the white wall syndrome. I don't describe a single thing. All I do is, he said this, he walked Bye. So I'm gonna read this to you and you're gonna probably be confused, but that's okay because you know what? This is where I started and where I'm at now. Well, I hope you read my books and they make a little more sense than this, right? Please tell me I'm right. I reached my hand out to open the door of Principal Monroe's office when he called me back. Jack? I turned back towards him. Yeah? He smiled and stood up. You're a good kid, but I can tell there is something you're hiding. I didn't answer. He was right. He always was. It was like he had a sixth sense. Well, I just wanted to say that if you ever need to talk, I'm here. Thank you, sir, but I'm okay. He nodded and I turned and left. My grades had been slacking, so Principal Monroe wanted to check in. He did that with everyone at my high school, but he seemed to do it to me more. I wonder if my parents told him anything. My thoughts were interrupted by Stan. Hey, Jack. There you are. How'd the meeting go? I grinned at him. He just wanted to check in. He noticed my grades were dropping. Wow. From straight A's to a B+. What a serious issue. And that's the first page. Now, the secret Jack is hiding, I actually don't remember what it was, but clearly he has a really big secret, and introducing it on the first page tells me it's probably pretty important. But that's the first page, and what else is there to note about it? The lack of description. Let me go help my dog. I'll be right back. We're back, and we now have a Fiona. So she was being a little sassy, but she can come and be in the video now. If she settles, I feel like, yeah, she's gonna wanna leave. Oh no, don't step on that. Wait. Okay. You're gonna awkwardly sit in front of the camera, that's okay. And quick intermission, my other dog's missing from the monitor. And I'll be back. And I'm back. And the dogs are now being babysat by my brother, so I can expose myself here with no interruptions. And first thing we're gonna look at is, this is funny, I was wondering why there was a bite mark out of the page. Definitely that means my guinea pig took it at some point. It was probably butterscotch, maybe Oreo. I've had a couple different guinea pigs, so around the time I printed this off, there's more bite marks on the top of the page too. Okay, that's really funny. I'm gonna just pick some random pages and read to you guys, and hopefully you can get as much amusement out of this as embarrassment I get out of this. We're gonna just see, I'm trying to find a specific, oh, look, we got some improvement. There's like hardly any marks on this page. What's going on here? They wouldn't have any money back. Cool, good for them. Oh, okay, they're at a gas station right now panicking because a black truck pulled in. So, this is Joanne's description. Her eyes widened and her face paled. She peeked around the gas pump and a second later, sighed in relief. She turned back. It's not him. Oh, thank God. That had been too close. We should get in and out of here, quick. Wait. Stan looked worried. What would we have done if it was him? We had nowhere to run to. So this is them really starting to realize that they're in trouble. And for context, the black truck is what Robert Kolmanaski, that's the uncle's name, and all of his, I guess, guys drive around. So when they saw the black truck at the gas station, they thought it was maybe them. It wasn't. But now they're planning that they have a couple doors. Good for them. Good for them. These guys actually, they ran away and their first thing was to go to a gas station to buy some food. So that's actually a pretty good survival tactic right there. I want to get into something juicy. I want to find something interesting. So we're going to move back. I think this is them after Stan left. Oh, whoa. Page 88, they've now been kidnapped. Somebody is saw. When were they kidnapped? What happened? Okay. Ooh, okay. This is them trying to save Stan. Oh, yeah. Okay. They were in a storage closet. Good for them. And... okay. Okay. Here we are. Here we are. Stan, like I said, he sacrificed himself at one point and he got kidnapped. So Jack and Joanne are trying to save him, but then unfortunately for them, they also get kidnapped. But plot conveniently, they are easily able to escape and untie themselves, and now the two of them are able to meet up and find Stan, who was not as plot conveniently easy to escape. So, credit to my younger self for making it difficult with the Stan part, but let's see what happened to Stan. This is them officially finding him. Was it Stan? If it wasn't, and we opened the door, it was over. Then the person groaned again. I grabbed the doorknob. It turned. Why was the door unlocked? It turned easily, and I pulled the door open. The door was just conveniently unlocked. They kept a kid in an unlocked room. Okay. Moving on. It turned easily, and I pulled the door open. I almost burst into tears of relief. It was Stan. He was tied to a chair in the middle of a small, dark room, and he had a gag over his mouth. He was awake, but looking down, and flinched when we approached him. Okay, that was probably why they had the door unlocked. He was he was tied up. He wouldn't have been able to leave. Stan, it's us. It's Jack and Joanne. His head shot up. He looked from one of us to the other and tried to pull out of his bonds. Joanne slipped out over with a pocket knife. Maybe they weren't kidnapped yet. Maybe Jack and Joanne weren't kidnapped yet if she had that. I'm like rediscovering this as I read it to you guys. Shh, I'm gonna cut you free. She sawed at the bands tying his arm to the back of the chair and then went for the ones at his legs. He leaned forward and fumbled with the gag. I untied it for him. Jack! Joanne, what? Shh, we're saving you. We need to get you out. Can you walk? He nodded and rose as Joanne finished cutting his legs free. He stumbled. I caught him. Sorry, he huffed. Moonlight from outside the door lit up his face. His right eye was swollen shut, and he had countless other wounds in his body. I was horrified. What had happened to him? He was leaning into me heavily. His breath was coming quick. I had forgotten about his sprained ankle. Add that to the fact that his legs had been tied back for days, and there was no way he'd be able to walk on his own. Couple pages down, we're skipping down here. You didn't really think we'd let you get away that easily, did you? I whipped around. A tall, bald man was standing there, grinning. Kolmanaski. I rushed to climb onto the counter, but he grabbed my arm. You're not going anywhere, he shouted over his shoulder. Get the other two. I heard a door slam across the house as men left through the front door. The man started to pull me away from the window. I struggled, but he was too strong. Plan Z! I screamed at the top of my lungs. Joanne, Plan Z! Not gonna lie, the Plan Z thing was such a good idea. Jack and Joanne agreed that if everything went completely and utterly wrong, instead of going Plan A to Plan B, they were going all the way to Plan Z. This is if there's no other plans in between this. There is nothing else they can do. Plan B to them implied they could also have a Plan C and a Plan D. But a Plan Z, that's the final letter in the alphabet. We don't have anywhere else we can go. I think I'm gonna stop it right there. I'm gonna cap it at exposing myself with the awkward kidnapping of my characters. Not gonna lie, I kind of still love this book. It's always gonna have a special spot in my heart because it's my first book. And yeah, it's a little rough, but I mean, first of all, it's a rough draft. It's literally titled Rough Draft. I showed you that before. And second of all, I was 16. I had no idea what I was doing. I had horrible white wall syndrome, which took me quite a bit of time to overcome. And I was also just having fun and writing my first ever book. So that's a little bit of behind the scenes of Running from Riches. And if my exposing you was amusing to you and you want to see and verify, have I gotten better? Have I overcome my white wall syndrome? Do I still have cringy plot lines and Plan Z announcements? Are Jack, Stan, and Joanne in any of my other books? No, they're not, but just pretend you're really interested in reading more about them. You're really excited to find out what happens next. Then maybe you should check out some of my other books. I have 7, and I was just published in my first anthology titled Poison to Power. So there'll be information linked down below. You can always contact me for signed copies. And if you want to one day hear more about Running from Riches, let me know. I'd be willing to expose myself again. Or maybe I should revamp it. Maybe I should rewrite this book and make my first ever book into something at least semi-functional. For now, thank you for watching, and whatever time it is, morning, evening, or night, have a great day. Hopefully a better day than the 3 characters in that last scene.